In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, the galaxy has been torn in half. The Imperium of Man, the galaxy-spanning human empire after 10,000 years of collapse, was at the brink when the Black Crusade, the 13th Black Crusade of Abaddon the Despoiler, tore free of the Eye of Terror that had been containing it, and in one massive fell stroke created the Cicatrix Maledictum, a warp storm that split the galaxy in half, leaving the fragmented remnants of the Imperium still barely holding themselves together as Imperium Vigilus. And on the dark side of that rift, cut off from each other, cut off from humanity, cut off from hope, is Imperium Nihilus. Those people trying to survive the predations of the dark. And yet, from this terrible event came great hope. The return of the Primarchs, Roboute Guilliman, and the myth, the legend, Lionel Johnson. New crusades were formed, Primaris Marines were created, new lines were drawn, and new heroes were made, were named, were created, and some of them were unknown. Some of them, the silent partners, the people behind the shadows, the people making great changes critical to the survival of humanity in taking its next step forwards instead of a final step back. And one of those people is Morgan Rhalls, an interrogator of the Inquisition, an Inquisitor to be. She is under the tutelage of Inquisitor Lucius Valentine, a divisive figure within the Inquisition itself, having drawn the attention of its highest heights as he drew the attention of Roboute Guilliman, the Primarch, the Imperial Regent himself, on his adventures. Which is why, though she has trained for 10 long years, Morgan Rhalls is still in prison. Morgan, you've trained under a variety of instructors that have been brought in for weeks at a time before they've disappeared again from your life. You have not been able to have weapons outside of weapons training, but you have had your own space, your own clothes, your chances to learn the skills that you had been missing when you were plucked from obscurity and became a part of what is now colloquially known as the Valentine heresy, though the fact that you were alive makes it very clear that it was not that heretical because you're in prison on Terra. They'd burn you real quick under the current circumstances if that were true. You've had 10 years to learn how to fight, how the Imperium functions, to learn the superficial necessities and the cruel realities of Imperial life, on top of picking up skills that you had previously lacked but now have gained. You're a capable pilot. You're now capable of hand-to-hand combat in the nastiest ways possible, and you've studied more both deception, persuasion, you're a master of intrigues, politics, investigation, all of these things. What do you look like, and what are you wearing? You can wear anything. The world and the galaxy is your oyster in terms of clothing that you would have access to. So what does Morgan look like inside this prison?
Morgan Rhalls looks not much like a prisoner. She looks very fancy. She's a tall lady. She's about 5'11", super leggy. She's got long, black, wavy hair down to her shoulders. She looks a bit like Eva Green, but pointier, sharper, a little rougher around the edges. She's got a little bit of scarring on her face and scarring on her chest. So even though from a distance she would look like just a very normal lady standing there, once you get up close to her, you see that she has a very hard expression and that she has seen things. But the outfits that she's wearing, since she's in prison and she can get whatever she wants and she's not out doing missions or doing anything, she's like, I want fancy things. So she has leather pants and high leather boots in black, and then a luxurious blue ruffled shirt that's shiny, and she has nice earrings and jewelry on. She looks more well-to-do. If you looked at her at a glance, you'd think maybe this is someone of royal status or someone who has some sort of standing in the Imperium.
Fantastic. So you are sitting in your cell, which you have decorated with all of the things you've managed to collect over these 10 years. There are books that you've been given, specific texts that you need to study, some of which are chained or locked up with gene-coded buttons because they are not acceptable for even your guards to have access to, because you are an interrogator of the Inquisition, and they are Terran prison guards in a forbidden facility. What are you doing right now? What is a down activity for you?
A down activity for Morgan, she would be reading, but she would be reading a book out loud to one of the guards. Like just a story, something that she knows they're allowed to have, but just to entertain herself and hear herself talk, but also has been subtly trying to see any of these guards she can win over, any of these guards she can get to break or talk to her or smirk at her. She's a little bit flirty with these guards while she's sitting there hanging out.
Fabulous. I would love to hear the end of this story you are telling to Ket Then, one of your jailers.
And the two of them settled down, and they looked out into the sunset, and it was the most beautiful sunset ever, for they had found one another through all trials and tribulations, and they would remain there until their dying day. What do you think, Kat? Is that beautiful?
Can you roll me either a performance or a persuasion?
Sure. I'm going to roll a performance.
Good start.
Yep.
It's a 22.
It's just so beautiful. Outside, your guard, to be clear, Ket Then is a retired inquisitorial stormtrooper. So this is a stone-faced, multiple murderer, multiple mind wipes, absolute imperial badass. He is sobbing at the beauty of this story. I just can't believe it. The people can go off the...
It's true. Some people in the Imperium, if we manage to keep it safe, will have love that lasts a lifetime.
Maybe I help that happen for them.
I hope so too, Kat.
And a klaxon goes off. A loud alarm with flashing orange light, which you know, Morgan, means someone is coming into the wing.
Yeah.
Red is the things are going wrong.
Understood.
That has happened a couple of times. But orange is someone is coming in. And a moment later, you hear Kedges go, yes, Inquisitor. Excellent. Please move on, Mr. Then. I'm going to be taking the prisoner somewhere else. You got clearance? Are you all right? Yes, sir. Yes, I'm fine. Good, go. You hear Ket stomp off, and the door to your cell, there's a loud clank as it unlocks and it opens. And you see your Inquisitor, of all the Inquisitors in the galaxy, Inquisitor Lucius Valentine, who is dressed, as always, vaguely like an Imperial Commissar. He has the long great coat. He has the peaked cap. He is in the silver carapace breastplate with an Imperial eagle on the front of it. But everywhere you would normally see just the Aquila or a sign of the Astra Militarum, it has the Inquisitorial eye. It's a custom suit that has been made for Valentine. He is tall and imposing. He's got a strange combination of action hero meets intellectual vibes. He's about 6'4". He's a mix between John Krasinski and Stephen Merchant, if you just average them out in the middle. And he has extensive scarring. He has scars that run along his temples, out from his eyes, and his eyes have been replaced with elaborate augmetics, almost clockwork style with emeralds around the pupils. They give him a complete lack of expression while also a tremendously piercing gaze, which is in no way offset by his smile that is permanently on. He's always in charm mode, but he is tremendously uncharming. He has a Rizless aura while trying to be your best friend at the same time. You have grown very used to this and are able to see through his facial expressions that are very distracting in combination with his augmetics. And he seems pleased. You're also surprised when you look down to see that he has weapons on his hips, which are normally not allowed inside the prison, which would suggest that something has changed over the last 10 years. He has been able to visit when he can. He sent you trainers. He sent you materials. He's been very explicit in the things that he can be. But he has been fighting for the two of you to get cleared from the charges of your previous adventure. Flying past him, his servo skull, Eugene, soars into the room and starts batting against your servo skull, which is in the back corner of the... Eugene, behave yourself. That's not what we do here. Come on, over here.
Morgan is ignoring that. She's poised. She's sitting on the side of her cot with her legs crossed and slowly closes the hardcover book with her fingers across the top of it and looks up at Inquisitor Valentine smiling and... Inquisitor Valentine... I was going to ask what is the pleasure of your company, but it seems something good has happened.
Yes, I've been cleared, which means it's now time for us to make sure that you can exit this facility as well, as there are certain complications politically that can occur on this lovely planet. All of them, of course, given to us by the Emperor. There are no problems. There are just interesting challenges that have been set for us as what a gift they are.
Of course.
Well, then I need you to come with me.
Morgan stands up and just tosses the book backwards into the other room. Where are we going?
You're going to be interrogated by psychers as a panel from the Adeptus Astra Telepathica who have determined that they have the right to be the final say on your innocence or guilt. So please come with me. And he starts walking and talking you down the hallway. You're going to be seen by a panel of 3 of their highest ranked psychers, some of them telepaths, but most of them having strong mental abilities. They're going to be able to read your mind and determine if you are speaking the absolute truth or not, essentially testing you for corruption internally. You've already been cleared physically, as we know, and you've gained a certain number of skills. I will be with you for as much of the examination as is possible. They're going to want you to be completely honest, and I want you to be completely honest, he says, holding out a hand to you. I've also brought you a gift. This is for you.
A gift for me, Inquisitor.
It is a necklace on a very fine chain, and at the end of it is a pendant. You recognize this pendant as an aquila in its shape, but it's made up of a number of strange and arcane materials. Can you roll me a perception?
Yes. It's a 20, not nat 20. That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, looking at this, you remember from your very brief visit to the Black Library, one of the materials inside this pendant, the rest seem to be of human origin. There are small shards of wraithbone that have been worked into the wings of this aquila. So definitely illegal.
Okay.
Definitely forbidden. Not for the Inquisition, but for literally anyone else. You would see this on maybe a rogue trader, maybe an Inquisitor. It's also fun for me as the GM because your character would know all of these things. So I'm not telling you stuff you don't know after all of the studying that you've done. You were brought down a series of hallways. As you're moving through, you are seeing these ex-Imperial stormtroopers, these prison guards of your kind of high intensity, high security wing until you are brought through a maze. It's purposefully designed to be confusing. This is a high-level Terran prison, so hallways shift. It's a building, a box within a box within a box. If you're picturing kind of the lament configuration a la Hellraiser, that's the box you've been put in amongst all of the other people in here. You've not interacted with other prisoners, just your trainers and the staff, but you're aware of the level of threat that is kept inside this building.
Right.
Until you end up amongst this labyrinthine maze of hallways, outside a door, massive, it's wooden, which is very rare in this facility. And Valentine steps forward and says, "Are you ready?"
Morgan's looking down at the necklace, and it gives her a mixture of feelings because this aquila, but with the illegal wraithbone in it, it reminds her of herself, of something that is upstanding and part of the Imperium, but also has been tainted by something. And so it gives her mixed feelings, but she tries to focus on the fact that it's a gift from Valentine, and then also that Valentine told her to be honest. So she looks at him and nods, and if you want me to, I will be completely honest.
Valentine looks at you, and there's a very measured moment. And he says, "I would like you to be honest." This is an example of our version of Thieves' Cant. Because we are playing a Warhammer RPG, but we are using D&D 2024's rules as rewritten. Reskinned, one might say. They're not really rewritten. I can't really take that credit. But reskinned for ourselves. And inquisitorial staff and high-ranking members all have their own coded language, where between physicality, inflection, and other things, they all are able to speak saying 2 things at once. We've kind of expressed this idea a little bit further than it has existed in other games, where they've often used the term glossia, which is a reference from Inquisitor Eisenhorn, who had a poetic language that he used with his followers, where they've then been like, the whole Inquisition uses it, which is insane, because I mean, the Inquisition has one secret language with all of them, which means there's a lot of leaks. No, everybody kind of has their own, but there are these shared languages and inflections where you can kind of pick up on that secondary language, aka Thieves' Cant. Valentine is not telling you that you must be completely honest. He's leaving that up to your discretion, but he's telling you that he needs to say that you should be completely honest.
And that's exactly what Morgan wanted to ask him going into this. That was a very important distinction for her, because there are a lot of secrets that they have shared between each other that she doesn't necessarily want everyone in the Inquisition to know, and whether that was his order or not. So she's going to use her own discretion going forward then.
Yep. He'll say, "Please put on the gift."
And she's going to put on this necklace.
Valentine turns away and speaks into a microbead that he has clipped to his collar. And a moment later, 4 active inquisitorial stormtroopers in full black carapace armor with subtly inlaid black inquisitorial eyes embossed on their shoulder plates, full face guards. You cannot see who these people are. You do not know, but they are carrying active hell rifles. Step into place behind you. And he says, excellent, let's go to trial. After you.
Morgan will give a little nod and turn on a heel to go.
And he opens one of these wooden doors, and you both step into a darkened room. There is one central stone chair built into the floor in the middle of this circular room, and raised in front of it, nearly 15 feet up, peering down from positions of absolute authority, are 3 outlines of people. Vaguely lit from behind. You cannot see their faces. You cannot see what is going on up there. You hear the buzz of servo skulls hovering around above you. You can hear the scratch of a quill on parchment somewhere above. This is automatically being recorded. Likely, you would know, audio, picked video, and a written record of what is happening in this room, which is strange. You're very used to inquisitorial things happening with no record, but you're also aware that sometimes you put them in the room to make somebody uncomfortable, then you bring them out and you smash the 3 different servo skulls, and there's no record of a conversation that just happened. You are even more labyrinthine inside your own mind, which has become its own Hellraiser box.
Yes.
But it's clear that this seat is for you.
Okay. Morgan will walk over, her heels clicking on the floor in the darkness, in the quiet, and take a seat, looking very poised and not at all like she's nervous.
Great. She looks poised. Valentine steps forward to stand just behind you and to your right.
Okay.
Clearly not inside this central beam of light. He's just touching it, but present.
Which she appreciates. She likes having him have her back.
And you hear a voice from above, one of these 3 voices echoing through the room, this strange hiss. Cassiopeia Ventris. Valentine beside you stiffens and says, she's changed her name both in legal record and inquisitorial record. More than 30 years ago. Could we please use the chosen nomenclature? You seek to bring changes, untruths to this space. It's not an untruth if it's been used for 30 or 40 years. Please, let's just move along. Fine. Morgan Rhalls. Are you a heretic?
No.
Can you roll me a perception?
It is 19.
19. Woo, coming out strong.
Very good, very good.
Mm-hmm. You feel the sensation, the impression of fingers just pressing against your scalp, reaching in past the skin as though they're touching the very edges of your brain, of your mind with these questions. It's clear that there is some psyker powers in effect. They're reaching into your very soul to determine what is being said and why. Describe to us what brought you here. Every step. You will be punished for any part of your heresy that is not spoken aloud.
I escaped a quarantine planet. I worked under Captain Rhalls Varn. I was seconded to the Inquisition by Inquisitor Kanehurst. I was left by him on a planet. On that planet, I met Inquisitor Lucius Valentine. I then worked for him. I helped him for all the missions he wished, until we ended up here on Terra. And then I have been imprisoned on Terra for 10 years. That brings us to today.
Such a vague covering of what you've done, perhaps to hide something. Everything she's done is a matter of imperial record. I'm sure you're able to read, considering you're able to read minds. Would you like me to find someone who could read the record in this room, so maybe you could pick it up that way if it's too challenging for you to look at text? You are an unpleasant man. No, I'm an inquisitor. You see these 3 figures look at each other at the top of this. It's dais. Will you allow us 3 questions without your presence, and then we will decide if this prisoner will live or die? I find that acceptable. Goodbye. Lucius Valentine turns on a heel and walks out, closing the wooden door behind him, and you realize these 3 questions are going to be the determiners of your fate, as you can feel these fingers on the outside of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You're realizing they're not all the way in. You don't know how all the way in they're going to get.
Right.
But you're feeling this as it happens. You have your instinctual psych training that allows you to pick up on a little bit of this.
Do you think the Black Library healed you, removed your scars during your brief time there? Or was it the Emperor?
The Emperor did it.
Is that true or false?
That's true to her belief.
Great. Roll me a persuasion.
11.
Interesting.
You feel the fingers sink a little deeper into your mind.
Why did you join the Inquisition? After all you'd experienced, every reason to distrust it. Why join? Again with Valentine. Why stay? He offered you a way out and you chose this.
First, it was for revenge. And now it is because I believe in him and the Emperor chose him.
Is that true?
That's true.
Roll me a persuasion.
That's a dirty 20.
You feel these fingers in your mind shifting, moving back and forth, but no deeper. Still just penetrating the flesh of your brain. It's an itching sensation. Would you hide your discomfort or would you let them see it?
She's trying to hide it.
Great. Can you roll me a Constitution saving throw?
Yep. It's a 14.
14. You are wincing, but your body is holding still.
Great.
So it's clear that you have control, that it is uncomfortable, that it's happening. And the 3 ask their final question.
What would make you betray your oath? What would make you turn away from the Emperor? What situation, what trigger, under what circumstance would that happen? And know that we can see into your mind.
Nothing would ever make me betray the Emperor.
True or false?
False.
Roll me a deception.
I'm going to use one of my luck points to have advantage on this.
There you go.
Nice.
Wise.
Very nice.
Here we go. Oh, come on, Morgan. Deception is, so it's a 16.
16. Okay.
It's a good modifier.
Mm-hmm.
With a nat 20, the Psyker panel looks at you and says,
Our verdict is decided. Inquisitor?
Door opens. Valentine walks in again with his inquisitorial stormtroopers, the 4 of them stepping in behind him. I'm glad this is complete and somewhat efficient. What is your ruling?
We rule that your interrogator is a heretic and deserves execution.
Interesting. Gentlemen, Sebastian Thor. And 4 hell rifles pop up and immediately open fire, pumping last bolts through all 3 of the psych interrogators.
Holy shit.
Their bodies fall to the ground, and Valentine turns to you saying, well, that was unfortunate, but they have absolutely no jurisdiction here, so I was trying to be politically nice. This will carry forward with your story. Are you ready for your first mission? Just kidding, come on. And he scoops an arm under yours and guides you out of the room, where you begin making a tactical exit from this prison very, very quickly. 2 stormtroopers stay behind to secure the doors to make sure no one can go in. And you are brought out of the facility and into a sky car that immediately takes off. It's got the sense of you're all doing that very professional walk that is not a sprint, but is very clearly like you're getting the fuck out of here before anybody says anything. And its flashes of the rosette are getting you clear of this location. Can you roll me a perception?
17.
One thing that you notice that is of interest to you is this does not look like Valentine's normal rosette. You've seen the one that he has had for a long time with the red gem at the center that's got kind of a square structure around it, kind of the Iron Cross-esque vibe with the inquisitorial symbol on it. This one's different. There seems to be a daggerish shape towards the bottom, and the gem at the center of it is blue instead of red.
Great.
Then you're into a sky car, and flown away from this facility towards a ship you can see in the sky in the distance. Terra itself is tremendously overbuilt and overwrought. There's a ton of sky traffic. There's a ton of other things. And there are a million ways you can get yourselves killed by not making the exact security checks. But there are different facilities, some of them, the Hall of Justice, the Inquisitorial Palace, any of the High Lords locations. They have enough security and enough ability to be able to bring ships down from orbit and actually to the surface or relatively above the surface. And your sky car is taking you above the Fortress of the Inquisition to a ship.
Okay.
You land inside the docks. Valentine has just told you to not talk.
Yep.
Cleared all the security clearances, got you onto this ship, and he brings you into, from the sky car, steps you sideways to a massive lander that is prepping itself to take off. You can see Inquisitorial stormtroopers are getting on, a number of other retinue. Not that you would recognize any of these figures, but you can see Adeptus Mechanicus. There's death cultists. They're kind of just a parade worth of outfits, because anytime large numbers of Inquisitors go anywhere, it's every weirdo you've ever seen who has a skill set that Inquisitor needed one time is still there. Veteran Inquisitors, you've learned, can have retinues of hundreds, if not thousands of people. New Inquisitors tend to have a smaller number because they're dealing with smaller cases and rely more on loyalty and specific kind of aspects of things. Valentine looks at you and says, "You're going on that ship, and you're going to take off now. What I can tell you is your orders come from the Imperial Regent, Roboute Guilliman himself. Our task is significant, but you will be operating under what shall be called special condition."
Yes, I see.
Yes, no one will know you're alive, and no one will know you're part of the Inquisition. Unfortunately, I need to make things even worse for you because of the way that this task is going to go about. It'll be recorded that this rosette, and he produces a special condition rosette, which you've heard about, which means an Inquisitor is going underground. They're going to lose all contact with the Inquisition. They're also acknowledging that. So if somebody finds them, they can present a special condition rosette. But for other people, that either means like, trust me, I didn't steal this. I'm a cop who's so undercover, you've never heard of it. There's some dangerous follow-ups with that. But Valentine explains to you, they're going to believe this is stolen. They'll believe that you killed those 3 psychos and that you've escaped. Once our mission is complete, I can clear those cases. I can make those things go away. But frankly, this will make things more convincing than otherwise. This will be your rosette. You'll be able to use this and present it at times you are required to. However, it will be marked as stolen. If you try to pull inquisitorial powers or my powers anywhere in larger planets, large city centers, anywhere where they can check it against the Inquisition database, you will be logged as a heretic, a traitor, excommunicat traitoris, and they will burn you to death. Do you understand?
I understand.
Wonderful. We've had many conversations about the type of Inquisitor you may one day be, whether you'll be a monodominant, a Thorian, one of the radicals, kicking in doors and declaring yourself when you arrive, whether you will be, as we've said, a radical and step down a darker path quicker. Please don't do that. It's rather unfortunate how that always ends. And then there are the Amalathians, my personal belief, which is that the Inquisition, the Imperium, is functioning just fine as it is. We should just maintain the status quo. The Emperor had a plan. We may not know what it is, but it was a very good plan, so we should ensure that it carries out by not changing too much and not ruffling too many feathers. The choices you make will be entirely up to you. Whether you decide to show this rosette and try to flex the muscles that you have, or whether you decide to hide it, that will be entirely up to you. I set you up with an identity. We took the rogue trader certificate that had been used for one Rhalls Varn, your previous captain in a previous life, who we now know is dead, and had that transferred to a name. Do you want that name to be Morgan Rhalls, or do you want that name to be something else? It's a big galaxy, so if they've heard of Morgan Rhalls, the corrupt interrogator, you're in trouble no matter what.
Do I want to have to deal with 2 names forever? That's what the ship is going to be under.
That is what your rogue trader certificate. So it'll be like a fake ID you can use when you go places. Who do you want to introduce yourself as when you meet new people if they believe you are your rogue trader persona? Or do you just want to be Morgan Rhalls?
So Morgan is thinking through the repercussions of all this. And yes, there being a small percentage chance of someone recognizing her name as being an interrogator is a risk. For a moment, she thinks maybe that would be an interesting risk of she would instantly know if someone was onto her, but it feels like too close, too much. But having a completely different name and having had to deal with that for a long time is also very annoying. So as her brain ticks through all of the options, she looks at Inquisitor Valentine and says, "Put it down as Captain Morgan Sharp."
Understood. We'll arrange your warrant of trade to be under that name. After this ship, you'll be transferred to a civilian vessel. Will be a number of different rides to get you out to where you need to be. Along the way, there will be 3 operatives that I believe will be of great use to you. Each of them, in their personnel files, are here. He hands you a data slate.
Great.
Once you arrived, there will be a ship for you to take under the name of Captain Morgan Sharp, and there will be a savant. The rest of the tools that you need to carry out your missions. I won't know exactly what they are because it will take you some time to arrive where you are going from here on Terra. You'll have what you need. What you're doing could save the Imperium, and failing to do it could doom the Imperium.
That is how it always is.
Ironically, no, but in this case, very much yes.
Thank you, Inquisitor.
Good luck, Interrogator. I'll see you when I can.
I hope to see you again soon.
That'll be pleasant. And he turns to exit, and you make your way onto this ship and begin your journey across the galaxy on these short warp jump trips. Some of them longer, some of them shorter, some of them comfortable, some of them very cheap. The data slate that you have tells you when you arrive at each location and you hook in to update the information on your data slate, it tells you the next ship to go to, the time,
Perfect.
the place.
Yep.
It's all built into this data slate. As you are journeying, you begin studying your targets, your future operatives, the ones who will help you complete the missions that will come out in front of you. The question is, when you look at the Crusader, the Witch Hunter Psyker, and the Arbite's Judge, who do you want to pick up first?
First, the Arbite's Judge.
Fantastic. You are making your way to... What is the name of the planet that your estate is based on?
It's a planet known as Womb.
You are on your way to Womb, the original home planet of a man that you know on your records as Judge Buchanan Rex. There's an audio file describing the judge to you from Valentine. He was originally born on the planet you are going to, Womb, before his parents died in a tragic accident. He was moved into the Scholar Progenium, trained at the Hall of Justice on Terra itself, and he was on the fast track to become one of the most senior and capable Arbites possible. They advanced him beyond Trooper, the lower statuses of Arbites, up to nearly a full judgeship where he was sent out to a hinterworld, one at the edges of the Ultima Segmentum, Reskel. He was placed under the mentorship of Judge Reinhard Ghoul. After a number of years, somewhere between 50 to 100, records are somewhat flexible, Ghoul died, according to Imperial records. The death itself was questionable, but, Judge Buchanan Rex was seen as somewhat above that. Overall, he'd been trusted, he'd had excellent academy scores, the world itself was, let's be honest, a bit of a shithole, but he did his best with what he could do, at one point even gaining a commendation from the Ultramarines chapter, which is highly impressive. He did, unfortunately, and illegally, have a family of his own on the side. When the Inquisition discovered this and he was stepped into forced retirement, we kept that information from the Arbites. They didn't need to know. We got him his family estate from his previous era of existence in his childhood on Womb, and we transported him and his now extended family, after several 100 years of service, to that estate, which means we're protecting his family, and we have the ability to call him into service when we need to. It's not blackmail, but it's not blackmail, is what I would say about the whole situation. It's rather nice to have leverage on someone who is pretty talented. I believe he'll stay in the right overall. He's a useful tool. He has more knowledge than most inquisitorial operatives do at higher levels of government, and he's more capable and aware of compromise than many of the more Puritan followers you may be able to find. I don't know much about his personality. I'm sure you'll be able to handle it. It's one of the things that I ultimately believe in you. You are reading this over as you are on the estate, on Womb, and you raise your magnoculars and you look into the estate and you can see Judge Buchanan Rex with his grandkids out in the woods. They're away from his home. This is a massive estate, a truly noble aristocratic estate. And Judge Rex is out in the wooded area where there's a little bit of a hunting reserve. Some of this was tailored by the judge. Some of this was just handed down to him from the property. When she looks at you, Judge, you're out for an adventure in the woods in your downtime with your grandkids. What are you wearing and what do you look like?
Buchanan is more of a refined gentleman, or at least that's what he believes. He considers himself a Renaissance man, so I would believe he'd be wearing just some loose clothing. There is some pieces of armor. He might be wearing a pauldron on his right shoulder to rest perhaps a large rifle for hunting. Besides that, he has a nice puffy ascot right now. He wears a skullet. He has a skullet. He's very much like a Patrick Stewart, but much taller, ropier, thicker, hardier, a jutting jaw, and just some scarring going down his lips. Having worn a mask for the majority of his life, that seems to be one of the only vulnerable pieces that was exposed, and it has been worn down by time. So yeah, just this is his casual wear, his refined casual wear. So think, puffy velvet ascot and what are those puffy pants? What are they wear? Like, have you ever seen the royal family hunting in the brush?
Jodhpurs.
What are they called?
They're called jodhpurs.
He's wearing some jodhpurs and tall knee-high boots.
Fantastic.
Yes.
You are out in the woods tromping around with your grandchildren. Grandchildren is the term that's used because trying to explain that despite the fact that you look to be about 60, you're closer to 700, is a little beyond the average 6-year-old. They'll get there eventually, but there have been a lot of generations of your family as things have gone down. You are out here, and your granddaughter, we're putting the big air quotes around that, your granddaughter, Vi, is standing over a rabbit. Just a classic Terran rabbit, and she just has tears pouring down her face. This rabbit has an arrow through it, and it's clearly dead.
I'm so sorry, my darling.
It was just so cute, and now it's dead, and I don't like hunting. The bow that she used to fire the arrow is on the other side of the clearing, thrown aside after she successfully hit the rabbit, and she's just devastated to have killed something for the very first time. You were here for this formative moment. What do you say, Judge Buchanan Rex?
I don't think he's familiar with this form of guilt that she's feeling, so I think he's misunderstanding her sadness.
Yes. I'm afraid it's a poor kill. I'm sure you want a do-over. I can get one of the servants to bring you some more rabbits, and you can kill it to your pleasure.
What?
Servitor! Come here, servitor.
And the servitor staggers out. It's a relatively solidly put together model. It's got robotic legs, one robotic arm with a tray on the end, and a free hand holding down two more rabbits on this tray that are a little bit dosed and a little bit dozy. And the servitor steps up, both its eyes, augmetic replacements, and a grill for a mouth, and it goes, "Rabbit, go!" And it moves its one hand, and a rabbit hops off the plate onto the ground.
Okay. Well, Vi, go ahead, grab your bow and arrow, and shoot away to your heart's content. I only want happiness for you.
No, I don't want to kill. I don't like that I killed that one. I want all the rabbits to live forever.
What?
It's so cute. I want to protect it. Why do we have to hurt it? It's so cute.
Servitor, could you collect the rabbits and leave us for just a few moments?
Rabbit get. And it staggers over, and let's just see how this goes. Oh, the servitor's pretty good. That's a miracle. He rolled a 17. He needed that because he's -1. And he scoops up the rabbit and goes, "Well returned," and turns and hear it stomp off into the woods.
I'm going to get up close to Vi, and I'm going to kneel down. I'm just going to look at her in the eyes and just try to analyze how she's feeling. Just take this all in. Like, I'm going to give her a full look just to make sure everything's all right.
So you don't enjoy doing what's natural?
I don't like killing. Why would I like this? Why do people do this for fun? This is insane.
Well, there's not much in the way of fun in most of the galaxy. I would think this would be nice for you. I mean, this is a world you must get used to if you wish to thrive, my dear Vi.
I have to keep killing to thrive?
Yes, and I believe at a certain point you will be able to get fully detached.
When you kill, do you feel anything?
Nope.
Do you feel anything? I don't know if I've ever seen you have a feeling.
I have feelings. I just bottle them away.
How do you do that?
You bottle them away. I don't know. You do it enough, and eventually you just stop thinking about it. You feel better.
Can you roll me a persuasion?
Incredible.
That's so funny.
That is a 4.
You're a bad man and you do bad things and I don't want to live in this galaxy. And she storms off and she goes over the corner. She smashes her bow over her knee on the way and she runs off crying.
Fine, that was an heirloom.
Morgan, you have a moment to approach now.
Perfect. Morgan has sent her servo skull over to the other side of the clearing, so she has a different view of the situation, because Morgan has a mind impulse unit in her head. She's light scarring over one side of her face because she has this computer in her brain that allows her to remotely control and see through her servo skull. So she uses it for general, she's been in jail a long time, but she likes having multiple views of a situation and can watch her own back literally in that way. So has the servo skull go off to the side and walks out of the woods towards Judge Buchanan.
Can I hear this right away? Can I at least make a roll, because he's...
Roll perception, yeah.
I'm going to roll perception.
Do you want to roll stealth?
Yep.
If you're trying to sneak up on him.
This should be better.
Yeah.
That's an 11.
You do have a point of heroic inspiration every morning from being a human, which means you could re-roll.
I'm going to re-roll.
Okay.
And I use that. Thank you, my dear boy.
No problem, sir.
Okay, that's much better. 21.
21.
That beats my 15.
All right. You see her as she steps out of the woods to approach.
I immediately swivel behind, like I do a perfect 180, very coordinated, and I withdraw the rifle, and I have it pointed dead set at her face.
And Morgan is walking out of the woods, both of her hands up. And as soon as the gun is pointed at her face, she stops. She's looking at him with a pleasant smile.
Freeze right there. What are you doing on my grounds?
Hello, Judge Buchanan, Rex. It seems that home life is a little difficult with the generations as they go on.
You haven't told me your name. And then I cock the rifle.
My name is Morgan Rhalls, and I have come to see you, to find you for the Inquisition.
The Inquisition wants an old boot like me?
Oh yes, we want you. I assume you haven't lost your killing edge.
Servitor? Rabbit.
Rabbit ho! And a rabbit comes sailing out of the woods and lands in the middle of the field, and it just starts taking off towards the distance.
Okay, and I'm just going to fire.
Great. Roll me a ranged attack.
Damn it. It's a 7.
7. You missed. The rabbit gets away.
That was so close to being cool. Oh, no.
Damn it. Well, Servitor, this is on you.
Noted.
Judge,
So funny.
He's so good at melee combat, but he's so bad at shooting.
I don't have my helmet on. When I have my helmet on, I'm in the zone.
So feckless, like immediately. He's just. Oh. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's so
Well, Morgan,
funny.
what do you say?
yeah, Morgan walks up and approaches closer to him, gauging how close she can get to this man without him being on guard again. And just says, "It takes time to shake the rust off. I will have many opportunities for you to do so.
So, the Inquisition wants me back in service.
That's exactly it. We have a very important mission to go on.
Well, I don't figure I have much of a choice, but I do have a lot of progeny I must explain this to. I hope the timing isn't immediate.
It is exactly immediate. We have other operatives to pick up. So however quickly you can do this would be perfect.
I'm going to be in my estate. I'll get out of my playtime clothing and talk with the youngins. Good day.
Thank you.
Servitor? Kill a rabbit.
Rabbit, eliminate, and you hear a wet crunch from the woods.
Okay, that made me feel better.
Good. I'm glad. I'll be waiting for you.
And he storms off.
24 hours later, Judge Buchanan Rex arrives at your ship and you make your way to pick up the next operative. The Witch Hunter Psyker or the Emperor's Crusader?
Look, when I saw that there was a Psyker on the list, I'm like, Morgan thought, oh, that's good. They're very powerful. Morgan also thought, I would like other people to protect me from the Psyker if need be. So we would like to pick up the Crusader next.
The two of you find yourselves standing, watching from the edges of the Hall of Heroes, a massive arena complex on a planet of...
Vexilon 8.
On the planet of Vexilon 8. Valentine paid for seats that are just behind, just where the heroes, the aspirants to heroism step in or out of the arena. So it's like a backstage pass. You were standing there, Morgan, and you were standing alongside Judge Buchanan Rex. Judge, what are you wearing? What are your official clothes? What does your armor look like now that you're all suited up?
Oh, great. So it is the classic judge helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost also like a cowl, like it's there's support under the chin, so it goes fully around. The only exposed part is my mouth. So black visor, you can't see through to any details beyond my eyes.
So you're wearing like the black carapace armor with the Imperial symbols on it. Is it a dressier version because you're a higher ranking judge where you could have the gold eagle heads on the shoulders, or do you keep things more basic and black?
It would be more basic and black. He keeps his frills and his thrills back on his home world. He kind of wants to remain somewhat incognito on his planet. It's kind of, it was a shit show, so.
Yeah, so you're looking at a traditional Arbite's uniform. It's a blend of the elaborate uniforms worn by officers, but with most of the accoutrement removed. You can see the chest plate, you can see the symbolism, you can see the name, the titling, the Imperial Aquila, but the shoulders themselves are basic. They're all black, shining, very well maintained. At the same time, for you, Morgan, if you're looking closer, you can see scratches and dents up close. Almost everything has been buffed out. It's looking very professional, but it's clear that this is armor he's worn for a very long time. This is not a showpiece.
Yes.
This is functional armor that he has taken very good care of, or had his servitors take very good care of back on his estate. The helmet itself comes to kind of the traditional Arbite's top that you would see on a trooper, not on one of the leaders. You're not seeing a big frill. It's not got, that broom handle of Aquila things going on. It's functional, it's brutal, it's to the point. It is innately intimidating. All Arbites are designed to be intimidating. So, Morgan, you're there dressed like a space aristocrat with just a brutally terrifying Judge Dredd-esque murder cop standing next to you. Would you have a cape or anything else decorative on the armor?
I think it would be just like... Oh, man, it's the Incredibles paradox, or not paradox, conundrum, I guess. I think, yes, when he's on more diplomatic missions, he has the cape. And when he sets into new worlds, he will wear the cape. When he's going into full function, he basically, well, that's enough for that, and takes it off. So, yes, I would like him to have at least one long red, royally red, deep crimson cape.
Wonderful. You're wearing that, and we will say, because you are a trained combatant at any time, it is a cape where if somebody yanks it, the whole thing comes off.
Love it.
There's no risk. It's like built into the armor in that way to be showy but functional, because The Arbites are aware that you may need to deal justice at literally any time. You are staring into this arena. There are tens of thousands of people lining the stands, looking down. It's a combination of an arena you'd see in Gladiator with this incredibly basic technology, but there is the big vid screens in the center and the booming speakers, and there are people of all genders just dancing in like revealing outfits towards the front, and the voice up top says, "And it's time for another attempted champion in the Hall of Heroes. It's Brother Solomon Gale." And the crowd is going wild. And Brother Solomon, you are standing in the center of this sand-based arena. It's a giant circle. You've walked through your gate, and on the other side is a gate that when they open it, some horrific monster will come forth, some absolute nightmare creature that you will face in the name of the Emperor. But what do you look like, and in what stance have you chosen to be ready for this combat?
I think Brother Solomon Gale stands in the arena, and he looks completely unassuming. So he's a big figure, and he's standing sort of hunched, slumped over, and he's covered in like thick hides of grox leather. So you can't see underneath, you can't see anything, and he stands like staring straight, like head, like hooded over with this big grox leather cloak kind of thing, and he just stands unmoving, pinned forward, waiting for the door to open.
Do you have weapons in your hands?
Not that you can see.
So it's just a mound of grox leather.
It's just a mound of grox
face.
leather in the sort of shape of a person with a dark hood over top, unmoving, staring forward.
Fabulous. Are you saying anything to yourself? Are you praying? Is there anything you would do as a pre-combat ritual?
I think the normal sort of prayers to the Emperor that anybody.
Well, you're from a very particular world with a very particular Bible to the Emperor.
That is true. So from Solomon's home planet, he had a very limited exposure to the Holy Scriptures, which is to say that a guy named Ezekiel in his village wrote one single book.
Yes, he wrote the Book of the Emperor.
The Book of the Emperor, and which was about 20 pages long. And I think he would be reciting it like to writ.
I would love to hear
page and verse.
I would love to hear like a couple of sentences.
I think there
of the Book
are
of the
little
Emperor.
bites of legitimate empirical theology. So he's constantly repeating, "Blessed is the mind too small for doubt," over and over again. And then things get a little weirder. You know, I must bathe in the light of the Emperor. I must be his right and left hand, for I am the Emperor's champion on this day, and only through the cleansing fire of Promethea can the Emperor's light truly touch the galaxy. All will fear the Emperor, but I.
And then you hear a voice from above say, "All right, let's watch this guy die." The doors in front of you burst open, and stepping forward into this arena facing you is nearly 2,000 pounds of toothed, scaled aggression with hateful red eyes, 4 legs, a tail, a reptilian expression, reptilian vibes throughout, but with a massive, thick torso. So an alligator meets a buffalo meets a wolf at a scale of an elephant. Brother Solomon, you find yourself facing something you're very familiar with, a grox.
Ooh.
An enraged grox. You have options here because you have raised groxes before in your life. You're covered in grox leather right now. You could battle this beast, or do you try to tame it?
I think this isn't the avenue for grox taming. I think he knows when, a grox is capable of being tamed. He understands grox rearing and husbandry, and this is a feral, not to be reasoned with grox. So he realizes that violence is par for the course in the Imperium, necessary.
All right, let's roll initiative.
Yeah.
I will say you have an advantage because you're waiting for this creature to arrive.
8.
You've got advantage,
advantage.
though.
Advantage. Oh,
Yeah, because you were waiting for it, so you knew it was coming.
Look at me go.
It's stepping out into the bright lights and trying to figure it out.
It's an 8. It maintains an 8.
All right, you're going second. The Grox roars at you, spittle spraying out of its mouth. You can see with its eyes, they aren't dilating correctly because you're used to regular Grox. It's clear this beast has been drugged, and it storms towards you. It is just sprinting, a massive creature. It will attack, and with a 3, it will miss. So it tries to gore you. How do you dodge aside from this blow?
I think that Brother Solomon steps just slightly to his left, like unfearing, unflinching, and it is the most calculated move as he just avoids, like, what do they have, like a big, horrible
big
maw.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a big, gnashing, drooling, rabid-looking maw just slides ever so slightly by him.
And then it is your time to strike.
And then he's going to, like, peel off his Grox leather coat to reveal a full suit of shining golden armor and a massive longsword, a great sword that he's been holding up close to his chest. And he's going to just try and, like, ram it right through the Grox's now exposed maw.
Let's go for it.
Let's get into this.
I will say, with the size of this creature and your experience with Grox, I will give you advantage on this attack.
Let's see what happens. It was a 16.
That will hit.
Okay.
Roll your damage, and knowing you have various empirical powers.
Mm-hmm. So I think he is going to use, what is it called? Light of the Emperor.
Fantastic. And what does that do?
So Light of the Emperor, beautiful, which is one of my divine smites.
Ooh.
So it is, as soon as I hit somebody with an attack, they also take an extra 2d6 radiant damage.
All right. You'll add that to it.
So let's go. So it's 2d6 plus 6. Boom. Boom. 11 for 17 plus another 2d6, which is 27 total damage.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
As he rams this greatsword, like, directly up through the mouth.
Yep. And you ram that sword directly up and through the mouth, and this Grox just guts itself as it keeps running past you, and the blade slides through the whole body before the Grox falls dead at your side, and you stand, having defeated it with a single blow. Wow. The crowd is silent. There's this moment of extreme calm. Then you just go, yeah! The whole place goes nuts. Champion flashes on all of the vid screens up above, and you turn to walk your way back out of the arena.
I think if Morgan and Buchanan have been watching this, as soon as that kill happens and everyone is yelling, Morgan would lean over to Buchanan into his ear and say, "What did you think of that display?"
Impressive.
Okay.
And you both wait for Solomon to return to where you are standing. Morgan, would you have shared the files that you received from Valentine about the other operatives with Judge Rex, or would you have kept those for yourself?
I'm waiting until we have everyone.
Okay.
So I'm not sharing anything with him. And he seems content to be very serious business and not ask a lot of questions. I don't know if that's true, but.
Oh, yeah, no. I think he's just like, he's used to just not asking a lot of questions because he never gets any answers. So.
Great.
Fabulous. So, Morgan, you're hearing this in your ear, the description from Valentine, again, of this operative, because you, I know, are so focused on this mission that you would be re-reviewing things over and over again. Valentine's voice echoes in your ear. Brother Solomon, originally from Promethea, which is an idyllic, agrarian, feudal world, raised as a farm boy, from what we've seen, though records are very minimal, in the village of Jericho. However, there is an interesting thing from Promethea. They produce a small number of highly effective crusaders. There is champion is chosen in some methodology we don't entirely know from each village, who are trained and then sent out on their labors to complete some oaths that they've taken. I don't know what his in particular are. Frankly, we're lucky that I found note of him so early in his career as a crusader. Usually they are picked up by a literal Astra Militarum crusade, something else, something incredible before they return to their homeworld. The only thing I know for sure about him, and it is a sign of his tremendous capability, on the planet of Allstat 4, he went out into the wastes and apparently rescued a baroness. Not entirely notable unto itself. However, he has 476 confirmed kills over the course of that mission. all hand-to-hand and all occurring within 24 hours. He's very good at what he does. I don't know how quirky, shall we say, he is. Probably very. One of my notes includes the fact that the Book of the Emperor is the primary text of the village of Jericho, was written by a man named Ezekiel Flame, and they treat it as though it was an imperial Bible. It has 320 pages. 300 of them are empty because after writing 20 pages, Ezekiel Flame died in a Grox accident. The locals believe that those last 300 pages remain to allow them to contemplate the Emperor's mysteries. Just because he's simple, don't necessarily believe that he's stupid. At the same time, he might be stupid. I wish you luck with him. Everyone needs their own right hand. The Emperor has you. Perhaps this man will be yours. And that recording ends as Brother Solomon approaches to the backstage area where your tickets allow you to be the first ones to meet him.
Morgan will walk up, clapping, looking at Solomon. Very good job, champion. We had lovely seats and we could see the carnage up close. That was so very impressive.
Oh, thank you. It is always nice to meet a fan. And he takes a big drink out of like a water skin and like wipes his brow, gets like the blood off of him.
I am a fan of both you and the Emperor.
Aren't we all fans of the Emperor?
Yes.
What a beautiful day he's blessed us with again.
It is a very beautiful, important, and special day because
Each day is no more important than the last.
this one is different, Solomon. The Emperor is calling upon you for a special mission. You are to leave this place with me and my companion.
And I'm standing in the back. I'm kind of just looming, just looking more like just like a bodyguard, and I just nod to you.
And under what authority do you have to summon Brother Solomon Gale on some mission of the Emperor?
The Inquisition.
The Inquisition?
Yes, you are now seconded to the Inquisition under me.
Oh. And he I think he looks like genuinely taken aback, but then like excited, like, well, now this is quite a and he'll like get down on one knee. My lady, if you represent the Inquisition, I will follow you to the end of the earth.
Perfect. I only need you
earth.
to follow me to my ship.
Well, then lead the way, dear lady, for this day has been blessed.
Exactly.
And the three of you make your way to the ship that will carry you to your fourth team member. And only after this conversation with Solomon in person to realize exactly what he's like. And having gotten to know Judge Buchanan Rex superficially from a distance, it's only now that you realize, Morgan, you might need to break it to them in advance that the next team member is a psyker and a heretic.
Yeah.
And you're not sure how exactly to do that, because you can't let them kill this person, and you might need them to protect this person.
This episode of Agents of the Inquisition features the voices of players Del Borovic, Guy Bradford, Josh Halbert, and Tyler Hewitt, alongside our Dungeon Master Ryan LaPlante. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and Agents of the Inquisition's artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com. That's DELBOROVIC.com. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR. All of their music is available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum-Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDUMBDICE. Though the team is working under special condition, this podcast isn't. So tell your friends about Agents of the Inquisition and join us next episode. Roboute Guilliman himself commands it.
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: George Dolby, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Alarain Okapi, Madre de Gatos, Mithrian, Garbo Ape, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dia De Los Hoodless, Squishy Werewolf, Remy Funky Head, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Jordan Oliver, Richard Wright, Brittany Fenwick, Megan Werner, A Man Out of Time, Curtis at FingerTechRobotics.com, Panda24NN, Shendra D, Your Homeboy Bones, Ellis Hatch, Odigenous, Kai Koa, Squire Solaire, Sandy Sassy Pants, Amira Lockhart, James Molina, Nick Hemsing, Alex LaFountain, Nikki Blake, Seth Cambron, Corpse Knight Silver, Adamir 101, The Dankler, Anti-Core 7, Lady Destiny Stormbringer, Randall Eberly, the Yes Bud of improvisational comedy, Lord Taser, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumbdumbdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.